Hi, my name is Mark Loomis. I'm with EPA's Great Lakes National Program Office, and my job at the Great Lakes National Program Office is a project manager for the Great Lakes Legacy Act, which means that I go around the Great Lakes from Duluth to Buffalo cleaning up contaminated sediment or really yucky mud at the bottom of rivers and harbors. We're here today at the Grand Calumet River, which is a historic river along the south side of Lake Michigan. It used to be a great stopover point for migratory birds as they traveled north and south every winter and spring. And over time, the river got contaminated from human activity and industries. And a few years ago, EPA worked with the state of Indiana and a bunch of other stakeholders to help clean up this site to get all that contaminated sediment out. We also restored a whole bunch of habitat. And so right here behind us, we see several, I'd say maybe 20, 30 acres of restored habitat where those waterfowl are now coming back and using this habitat that was degraded. And if you listen, you can hear birds, you can hear frogs behind us, which is a great indicator that the system is starting to restore itself. So I would travel around helping to clean up all these contaminated sites and restore habitat so that we can make it a safer, cleaner environment for people and fish and birds.
Hi, my name is Eleanor, and I work here at the EPA in Region 5 as an environmental engineer. I work in air enforcement, which means that I am trying to make sure that facilities, whether it's a manufacturing facility or an electricity generating station or anything else that emits pollution, whether they're following the rules that are in place to protect air quality. So what that means is that I go out to the facilities and inspect them to see what they're doing and talk to the people that work there. I collect data from those facilities and analyze it. And if I find that there's any non-compliance, anything that they're doing that violates the rules, we notify them of that and we negotiate with them to figure out what they'll have to do to come into compliance with the rules, and in some cases to mitigate the pollution, so to counteract the environmental harm that they've done. And in some cases we usually negotiate a penalty too. So that's what I do.
Hi, my name is Heriberto Leon, and I am Community Involvement Coordinator in the Superfund Division of the Environmental Protection Agency. What that means is I get to talk to people in plain English or in plain Spanish and explain to them what it is that the EPA may be doing in their home or near their home. Sometimes we respond to emergencies, such as when there's a train derailment and there is contamination of wetlands near a railroad track, or sometimes we deal with facilities that have a long history of contamination and has sometimes been abandoned, and we need to take time, sometimes years, to investigate and study. And so I explain to people what it is that the EPA is doing, and I also ask for their comments. We want to hear from them how they want to be maintained, informed of what the EPA is doing in their community, as well as give them the opportunity to provide opinions about how it is that the EPA finally decides to clean up a place.
Hi, I'm Chrissy Pelegrin. I'm an attorney here at EPA, and I work with the criminal investigators. They're basically the EPA police officers who investigate violations of environmental crime. So, for example, say a company or a person is doing the way wrong thing. They're polluting the environment on purpose, and they know it, and they know they shouldn't be doing that. Our investigators will go out and investigate that crime. For example, if someone's putting hazardous waste into a river, that might kill fish. If they're putting too much pollution into the air on purpose and trying to get away with it, our investigators may catch them. They will bring that to the attorneys and say, is there a law violated here? The attorneys will actually look in the law books and decide with the investigators whether they violated an environmental crime. Then the investigators can gather evidence like these files here, and we can look through those documents to see if there's any violation. And they can also go out to the facility and execute what's called a search warrant and actually go and seek out evidence. Then if we decide that there is a crime that's been committed, we can indict that person or serve formal charges on them and even bring them to court. If they don't decide to plead guilty, we may bring them to court, have a trial, and that's when I come in. I get to put witnesses on the witness stand, put our agents on the stand to explain to the judge and the jury what the violator did wrong, what the criminal did wrong. And so then the jury will either find them guilty, hopefully, and then the judge will decide what the sentence could be. That could be anywhere from a very expensive fine to even time in jail.
Hi, this is Chris Choi, and I'm with the Superfund Division here in EPA's Region 5 office in Chicago. I work in brownfield redevelopment and also in sustainable community development. Brownfields are properties that have been contaminated with chemicals and other substances that make them really hard for redevelopment. So as a project officer, I work with states and local communities to clean up these properties so that they're ready for new homes, new parks, and new stores. I also work in sustainable community development, and part of this job entails teaching communities how to better recycle, how to be more energy efficient, pollute less, and save water so that our futures are cleaner.
Hi, my name is Tamas Mendez, and I'm a water enforcement officer in the Water Division of Region 5. What I do is I go out and I do inspections on different places, and that would include water plants, industrial facilities, large farms, all the different places that we have water regulations for, and I go and make sure that the regulations are being followed. When I get back, I write a report, and then if I find out that anything was done not correctly, we report that, and then we take the valued steps to do what we need to do next. That's pretty much what I do.
Hi, I'm Bev Shorty, and I work in the Resource Management Division in the Comptroller Branch, and I deal with the payroll here in the region. And what I do is make sure that, I think we have over 1,200 employees. I make sure they all get paid, and you guys know that's very important. So I got to make sure that their time is in. I got to make sure that everybody has their time correct. And guess what? After all this is done, they get a nice paycheck. So that is my job, to make sure everybody gets paid. So if you ever come to work for the EPA, you are going to work for a wonderful, wonderful company, because we are great here at EPA.